place to begin should be the International Criminal Court. Amira from Gaza went to The Hague to demand justice after she was wounded and her entire family killed by Israeli bombs.
Today it's the first time a Palestinian child is going to make a complaint in front of International Criminal Court against war crimes. The testimony of Amira is very clear about the willing of Israelis to kill children, and we want Israel to come and to explain things.
A progress in international law was the creation of the ICC, but the ICC still falls short to clearly address the issue of the crimes committed by Israel and by the Israeli government. Today, our states and international bodies are still very reluctant and fail to sanction Israel for its violations of human rights. Everybody knows that the military industry in Israel is one of the core issues and the core mites of Israel on the international level.
Israël est venu vendre ses drones avec lesquels elle a lancé des missiles sur Gaza en janvier pendant la nouvelle année.
70 résolutions, plus de 6 millions de réfugiés, rentrer dans ce bâtiment, c'est accepter les crimes de guerre israéliens. Pour rentrer dans ce bâtiment, c'est accepter la complicité de l'État français. Aujourd'hui, la campagne Boycott des investissements aux sanctions françaises demande à tout le monde d'arrêter l'ensemble des liens avec l'État d'Israël.
Many would say, even before the BDS movement, that we should embargo shipping armament to Israel. We should not allow our state to ship armament to Israel. But today it is almost a non-issue. Israel is exporting armament. Israel is testing on the Palestinians its new armament and exporting it to France and to European countries. So, big cities have an almost as important role as states. Paris, for example, hosted recently Shimon Peres, the president of Israel, who is known for his crimes in Qana, in Lebanon, for supporting the war on Gaza, etc.
Sans doute l'artisan le plus efficace de la création de cet État.
There is no reason why we in Paris should host such a criminal, and this is by protesting that we can manage to at least sanction Israel on the local level.
With so many politicians siding with Israel and with the Gaza war inspiring a new wave of dedicated activists, the time had come for large-scale operations. In December 2009, the March for Gaza in Egypt was the first in what would be a series of massive protests aimed to capture the world's attention.
When people in South Africa were struggling against apartheid, and really they thought they couldn't win, and the Prime Minister of Britain, Margaret Thatcher, she said, "We will never see a black majority government in my lifetime." Well, she's wrong, and the South Africans here carry a message. They could win, but it was very dark and very difficult, and sometimes they were in despair. And when they were in despair, some Irish shop workers refused to handle South African goods, and they said a light shone around the world, and it gave them the courage to continue. We are here to do two things: to tell our comrades in Gaza and Palestine they are going to win, and to tell the Israelis they will pay an increasing price.
But with the land route to Gaza blocked by the Egyptian government, activists turned to the sea. The Turkish-led Freedom Flotilla in 2010 would be both a success and a tragedy.
The flotilla began very simply with the citizens from all around the world going to Gaza in order to break the siege. So the first operation was a kind of naive and very brave operation of people from all around the world in order to break the siege and bring some help to the people of Gaza and denounce the embargo. But the Israeli repression and aggression of the flotilla, killing 9 people on the Turkish boat, led to an international outcry, and to many people understand that if Israel responded this way, that meant that the flotilla kind of action was really the kind of thing that should be done. Many people around the world gathered and gathered money and gathered all their energy in order to have a second flotilla, which would be even bigger, with even more countries involved, in order to break the siege on Gaza. Everybody knows the result.
The Greek government has put up fake obstacles to keep us here.
Israeli blockade of Gaza has come to the European waters in Greece, and that it is unacceptable.
The attention is only focused on the Gaza Strip, and all the initiatives are in this direction. But in the meantime, what does Israel do? They take advantage of this to worsen the ethnic cleansing in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And this is very critical. So you should also have some spectacular initiative in the direction of the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And so we were 500 women, children and men to buy tickets to fly to Tel Aviv on the same day, on the 8th of July. And what happened? You know the result. Many of us were blocked in European airports, and a bit more than 120 were jailed as soon as they arrived at Tel Aviv airport.
Où nous étions invités par des pacifistes palestiniens à nous rendre en Palestine, et nous sommes surpris de voir que la compagnie Malef ne veut pas de nous. Eh bien, ils nous ont dit tout simplement qu'ils avaient reçu des ordres de la hiérarchie, qu'on leur avait fait du chantage et des menaces, en leur disant que si nous montions à bord, eh bien, l'avion n'atterrirait pas en Israël et nous serions réexpulsés.
The Israeli hysteria was so incredible, pretending that we were coming to hijack planes to go to Gaza, or that we were going to put fire on ourselves, to delegitimate Israel and things like that, that all the media, even the Israeli media, got very interested in the story and covered it, and really thought that there was something wrong with the Israeli policy.
Denied access to Palestine yet again, counter-protests were held around the world. But true change must come from within, and change is in the air thanks to the Arab uprising, which has already toppled tyrants in Tunisia, Egypt, and Libya. But the question on everyone's mind is, when will Palestine join the wave of change?
Today, there is a change. There is a change. We are not only fighting against this repressive system, but we also have hope enough with these revolutions happening in the Arab world that we can fight for something. And this something is the change which is happening today with this Arab youth, and the Palestinian is part of it, willing to confront directly this oppressive system. We also hope that Israel, which is in fact the hardest and the most awful dictatorship in the region, will fall through the mobilization of the young Palestinians and all of the young Arabs.
Israel hoped to demoralize people, to break them and to show them that it was useless to take action and to move. But they failed. They failed because people came back even more determined than they were and ready to do that again, more numerous, and of course to keep fighting on the boycott side.
Will it work? Of course it will. It's already working. It's not something that we're foreseeing. The Palestinian boycott calls started in 2004-2005. A few years later, we already have major support from major unions, even in Europe, even in Canada, and starting in the US as well. So now it's not a marginal movement, It's becoming much more mainstream, so it is working.